What's up from the basement? Been a while. Say that a lot lately. Get too wrapped up in life, get too antisocial. I've been trying to do a truck video about the state of FPV and how I feel for well over a month. Tried 4 times. I review it, and then I go, you know what? I don't want to put that out there. And I have kind of thrown away the idea. Let's just say I'm disappointed. A lot of drama in the FPV world, and I'm absolutely sick and tired of all the childishness behavior. And there's probably the 15-minute video that I've tried multiple times. That's how I feel. Anyway, doing something different today. Sitting down in the basement. It's somewhere 8:30ish Friday evening. Storms are coming and going. Freaking been absolutely nuts. But I'm reviewing footage here, which you're going to see. And you know what? I don't think anybody wants to see this. It's just ugly analog footage from my little RC plane that I have here. F and Chet and I were flying together. I don't think it was in this video. It was one of these we were doing. But I'm showing you the footage. This is the unedited, completely raw, uncolored, because I even color my analog stuff and try to sharpen it a little bit, because this is just dull and shitty. And in the world of what we have out there now, I feel like this isn't as entertaining. It's in the moment, loving flying while I'm doing it, and it's absolutely awesome. My big exciting thing was trying to shoot some gaps between the pistol and the rifle port here, which was super, super scary for this thing. And then the camera in my goggles, the contrast with that, it was blowing out this whole tree line, so it was completely black when I was trying to turn, and made it sort of not fun. So this camera and its stuff, these little all-in-ones that we have on them, are not ideal when it comes to lots of light input in them. But it's an absolute riot to fly. Talk about screaming, swearing, and having a good time while doing it. That's what it's all about. The absolute excitement of trying to test yourself and try something different, Typically, which I don't have in front of me, I'm flying the Avata 2 really slow, methodical, going through the trees and all that kind of stuff. Or, the FPV, doing a little bit of flipping and rolling and stuff like that. But this is a whole other monster. This thing only has a tiny 25 milliwatt transmitter on. I'm going to hold it up to it. That little tiny thing. That's all that's on there. You know what? Hold on. If I go like this, does it look like I'm flying? But it's just a cheapy ass little camera. And it gets pretty good range. I can get all the way back from the 200-yard berm and behind myself. And it's weird how the DVR records more static than was actually on the footage from when I'm flying it. Like I said, the only thing that I'm not seeing here is the complete blowout of, that was close. The complete blowout that I saw. But I figure instead of sitting down, adding music to this and cutting it up, I can show you guys like the raw, unedited kind of goofiness. And again, we were just doing laps, and there was one point where we were flying together, but in a way I'm giving you an edit without an edit. And landing, am I going for a landing? Yeah, landings on this are fun. Oh, yep, landing. As soon as the wheels touch the dirt, it would, at the end, would just flip it over. So let's try the other one here, okay? So you're getting it right out of the computer. And a lot of the times, I had a problem with the prop adapter. It kept popping off. And it would go flying. So let's see if we get that in this. And we're off. Once you get going, that's it. Now with all the trees around and the ability to not super fast execute compared to a drone or be able to stop, I didn't take as many chances. I did get close to some limbs, and I kept pushing myself towards the outer boundaries of the trees and around the club. The wife and kid were sitting with us, and they were spotting for me because I was flying at FPV, and F and Chet was doing line of sight, but he also had, a shot of me. So here's going a little bit lower, and then when I got behind the berm, I noticed that it definitely scratched out a bit. I'll keep tilting my phone here. And there's volume, which is weird. It sounds like ass. I don't know how that camera picks that up, and that's just the air coming at it, which is interesting. The goggles record that audio. But it goes pretty good. You can see how quickly it's getting down. That's the 100-yard berm from where we were. And I'm in between, so I'm like at 150 yards when I kept turning around. And then there was a point where I had taken the goggles off, and we were both just doing line of sight, but I kept recording just so I could get the footage. And it was just as fun. But I definitely prefer to do FPV. But I'm trying to get myself motivated enough to keep doing videos from the truck, when I come home from work, to talk about stuff that's going on. And I figured out a really cool setup. I got a mount inside on the windshield, and I got this GoPro that I sit upside down, which I've tested because, again, like I said, I did a video 4 times, and it was my rant and my feelings on the FPV state right now. And again, I don't know what it is. I don't want to. I want to speak my mind, and I want to be honest. And that usually pisses people off. There's a lot going on. You got certain crybabies that when their name is mentioned in ill light, just laughing chat there, they send out cease and desist orders. So this is a little bit older, and bunch of crybabies. Whatever, grow up. You got a certain company now, their backer has invested in using drones as something for war purposes, and I've boycotted them a long time ago, and I'm going to continue to, and I think it's bad for the hobby, with enough Karens out there and people misinformed that they think negative about it, and then they find out, oh, here's the cool gap I was shooting. So excited to do that. But once they find out that people are, making them to kill people, it's gonna get worse. So I thought that was a really shitty decision on their part, so I will not watch their videos anymore. I will not purchase anything from them. Not that I did. I think I bought goggles face mask foam because that was the only place I could find it a while back, and I won't even buy it from them if that's the last place I can find it. And I know a lot of people share that opinion, but that's my opinion. But I don't want to rant about that anymore. It was just frustrating. And again, my humble opinion about stuff. There it is again. See, that's a pretty huge gap. Pretty small plane. So you can see, there's about 9 to 10 inches, give or take, stretch. So it's 12, 13, 14 inches across-ish. And that was a huge 10-foot gap. But it seems extremely stressful when you're flying this little dinky plane that does not have the maneuverability, again, of the drone. Here we go again. I was hooked. Made my day. And I was wahooing and screaming the entire time that I was doing it. I didn't have the reliability of DJI for my transmission. So, like I said, the static that you're seeing, and some of it was worse in the goggles or not. But it's just weird that the recording doesn't correlate to what you see in the goggles. But it was fun. Always fly it this way. I'll always fly the tiny whoop analog and the little whoops that I have behind me. That's just part of where I started from, and we'll always go back to. Keep tilting, my apologies. But you're basically getting a front row view of the fun that we had. Something different. No music, no cuts. Prop in the view. It's cool out that, I wouldn't call it parallax, but whatever that crazy, it's got to be the frames. There's another top-notch landing. But yeah, you're getting the frame rate matching the way the speed of that spinning, and it makes it do that. So there you have it. There's an edit, completely raw. These things are all over the place. There's different sizes. This will do what they consider acro. It is stupid twitchy. I have mine converted with a aftermarket Spectrum receiver so I can use my controller. So I may spend some time and add some expo and try to dial it in a little bit and see if it's worthy of expo. Obviously in a big field and 4 or 5 mistakes high. But in level mode that this thing has, it's super, super stable and agile enough. And again, using my controller versus the little shitty one it comes with, I can add a little bit more to make it a little more aggressive or not based on how I want to fly. I wish they made a better camera. This thing's sensitive to weight, and it would be cool to have a separate VTX, but that's just a lot of wires, a tiny little thing, and not that many places. The little inside spot here barely fits the battery, and it's got wires running through it to come up to here, so that's full. And again, I would entertain a tiny bit bigger of a plane, because they still can fly slow enough for a smaller area like we were flying in, if I could get a better camera setup in them. It's a freaking blast. Absolute blast. I think everywhere they're easily 80 to 90 bucks. So if you're looking to get into tiny little planes, I wish I remember what brand this was. Spitfire. Do I have? I'll have to look, and I'll have to put it in the description. But any hobby store usually carries these things, and they're all different types of planes. So that's it for this evening. I'm glad I finally got a video out. I will probably put this directly up this evening. Just as I'm getting something done, I'm going to erase these files now and clear the card. As of now, I am not sitting on any footage. I've got plenty of edits ready to go, because I like to keep a storage of them. And that's it. So, oh, new lights are on the TV. RGBIC. You notice how it's moving? Anyway, I've wasted almost 12 minutes of your time. Let me know what you think of the planes. You know, I'd love, and to extend the conversation, how do you feel about the state of the hobby right now? What you're seeing as the mainstream, what do you call those people? The influencers, the people that are selling you the stuff, the people that are reviewing. I feel like especially a couple of the reviewers that are out there that mainly started with drone stuff and FPV are freaking reviewing scooters and bikes, and they're just anything they can get their hands on. In one aspect, I would argue with myself and say, well, that's kind of cool. You know, I'm actually physically, mentally interested in an electric scooter, a semi-off-road one for some of these locations where we park, and it's a really easy walk, but maybe a mile or two away. We can pop on an electric scooter and shoot right up to the location and make it a little more fun and adventurous. And then on the same token, I want to go, if you're all about the FPV and all about the flying, why are we looking at scooters and bikes and stuff like that? Make a separate channel. So, you know, chasing the dollar instead of keeping it towards the hobby. So I'm mixed, and that's why I'll make a video and then go, you know what, and then erase it. But I want to stay true to myself and just basically, like I said, frustrated with what I'm seeing on some of the YouTube channels and then what some of these companies are doing. But again, share your thoughts. Let me know what you think about that. Be a good conversation piece, and depending on the comments and stuff like that, maybe we'll sit down. And I want to do a live. I keep saying it. I want to do a live. I want to get F and Chet back over here, grab a couple beers, and, you know, do a Q&A, even get Ghosts of FPV. You've got somebody in the middle of learning to fly, Shane that's really new to, you know, acro and stuff like that. Talk about the HD stuff, talk about the analog stuff. You know, everybody said when you get into the hobby, that first learning curve of trying to learn to fly without all the stabilization, and some people can push past it and learn, and some people, it forces them out of the hobby because they just don't like it. Some people fly just camera drones. Some people fly like myself. I don't mind angle mode when it comes to my whoops and stuff like that. Those typically just angle mode. Acro was meant for the bigger stuff for me. Although, I don't have it out, do I? Flow, my Flylens 85, the tune that I put on it. I was actually in acro flying around and didn't even know because it was so locked in that it felt like angle mode. And then, for whatever reason, I felt like doing a little barrel roll, and it did it. And then I'm like, well, why did I do that? The thought process while I'm flying, and it actually rolled. And then I'm like, how did it do that? I thought it was in angle mode. So that thing's super, super locked. And most of that video, obviously edited, was put up Friday. And I've got another one from the range coming Monday. But that's with the DJI FPV chasing some planes around and an RC crawler. Phenomenal little edit. I think you guys will dig it. And I'm done ranting. I gotta go find a snack. Find something on TV. It's another early morning for me tomorrow. Probably back at the range. Probably get some flying done. And I got another band of crazy weather coming tomorrow. So thanks for tuning in. Share your thoughts. Talk about the hobby. And we'll see you on the next one. Peace.